Good morning again and welcome, council members. Councilmember Kia Aina, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilmember Kia Aina, can you please introduce your guest for the message of aloha?
Aloha kakahiaka, e ola ka olelo Hawaii. I am pleased to welcome Kamuela Yim this morning to share this month's message of aloha in celebration of Mahina Olelo Hawaii, Hawaiian Language Month. Born in Waipio, Oahu, Kamuela and his ohana currently live and farm in Waimanalo. Kamuela has been actively involved in the Olelo Hawaii community, including as a kumu, for over 20 years. Through his work in Olelo Hawaii education, Kamuela seeks to foster a strong foundation in Olelo Hawaii for our keiki, which helps to build strong communities across the Pai'aina. Kamuela believes that everyone living in Hawaii should have a grasp of Olelo Hawaii to have a better understanding of where we live, and emphasizes that without the Hawaiian language, there is no Hawaiian culture. Thank you for being here.
E ka hale kamali e kuku ana. Ka hui velau oi o ka makau nui a Maui o Manaia Kalani nui hano hano. Ka hia pu hulu hulu e ka mai ana ka upena miloli'i. E hei ai ka moi e hukai. Na elele nui hano hano e nono ho mai ana a me ke anaina. E maliu mai ana aloha o kou ke ia kakahiaka. I got the invitation to speak a little bit on Mahina Olelo Hawaii. And I was sitting down and I was thinking that my family and I just went on a small trip to Japan. And when I went to Japan, it was of no surprise, everything around me is in Japanese. It's kind of cool. And I walked around and then I quickly realized that everything being labeled in Japanese in a foreign language tells me that I'm in a foreign country. And if I went to China, much would be the same. If I went to anywhere else in the world, if I went to the Netherlands, many things would be labeled in Dutch. One of the signs that I'm in a foreign country. And made me think about a bunch of these kids that are sitting down. Some of them, Hawaiian language is the only language they spoke up until they went to school where they met other kids and they started to speak other languages. And I thought, how is it when they walk into the store 5 minutes from their home and everything is labeled like it's a foreign country? How is it when everywhere they go, everything is labeled in a different language and they're not sure when they can go home to where they're from? If I was taking Japanese and that was my first language here, would I have a place to go where everything is labeled in Japanese? Yes, I'd go to Japan. And if Chinese was my first language here and I grew up speaking that, would there be a place where I could go where everything was labeled in Chinese? Yes, I could go to China. And as a Hawaiian, or anybody who speaks Hawaiian as their first language, where do they go? Where do they go to be surrounded by a language that tells them that they're no longer in a foreign country? Mahina Olelo Hawaii, to me, has very little to do with language. Mahina Olelo Hawaii is an invitation, it's a reminder that we live amongst a social injustice that we walk through every single day. With things like wheelchair access, if we do 3 events in Mahina Olelo Hawaii, that's a good success. I did 3 events for Mahina Olelo Hawaii this month. It was a good success. For wheelchair access, if I put 3 wheelchair ramps every 365 blocks, would we consider that a win? For women's access, if I put 3 women's bathrooms in every 365 bathrooms, would we consider that a win? We're lucky this year. We have 1 extra day in February. For the people sitting there, for myself, for my family, for many of the people that I hold dear and near to me, there's no such thing as Mahina Olelo Hawaii. You wake up, you're on. I wish I could sit here and give you warm hugs and lay. I could sing you nice songs that make you feel good. Instead, I offer you a challenge. The challenge is to be the kupuna that one day kids will pray to and ask for guidance. The challenge is to be Abraham Lincoln in the face of slavery. The challenge is to be Martin Luther King at the front of the parade. The challenge is to be Nelson Mandela in the face of apartheid. These seem like radical things. We're just here to talk about Mahina Olala Hawaii. For a child who knows nothing else but Hawaiian language, that's all their life. For Nelson Mandela, it was his life. For slaves, it was their life. For women who I find immensely strong, stronger than men, it's their life too. For Keiki Olala Hawaii, this is all they know. There is nothing bigger than how they perceive the world. Hawaiian language helps us perceive everything that's here. It gives them the worldview that they can take out into the world. And the best thing that people from here can offer to the world is be the best Hawaiian you can be. And I say Hawaiian as us from here. Everybody can speak Hawaiian. Everybody can learn those things. Everybody can share that worldview with the entirety of the world. I offer all of you a challenge. I don't say that I'm free of sin, free of guilt. I don't screw up. I speak English all the time. If any of you choose to take this up, look for me. My name is Kamuela Yim. You can find me anywhere you want. I stand right next to you as you find ways to normalize Olala Hawaii for all of these kids, the little ones who don't speak English. Mahina Olala Hawaii is an invitation and a reminder to normalize Olala Hawaii in all the spaces, at the very tippity top to the very base foundation of where we stand. Be that next person that all of these little ones will pray to one day and ask for guidance. Stand in the hard space. Be in the heated conversations. Make the hard decisions so that the babies don't have to do those when they grow up. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to share a little bit about myself and the things that I believe in. I hope one day I come to see one of you or all of you knocking on my door to tell me, get ready, let's go. I'm ready. My kids are ready. All of these kids are ready. Aloha nui kako.
Thank you so much. Members, I have a procedural announcement. Pursuant to Section 92-3.7 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide an oral testimony on all items on the agenda, either in person, in the council chamber, or remotely. Before testifying, each person shall state their full name and the agenda item they are testifying on. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 3-minute presentation on public hearing and new business items, and a 1-minute presentation on all other items. For registered in-person testifiers, when your name is called, please proceed to the podium and begin by stating your name and the item you'll be speaking on. When I call for anyone who is not registered to speak in person, please line up to the right of the podium, and when it is your turn, proceed to the podium. Begin by stating your name and the item you'll be speaking on. For persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or phone, when your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. When I call for anyone else standing by remotely, please utilize the Zoom raise hand button to indicate your desire to speak. For those joining us by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. The following are some friendly reminders and tips. Video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceeding on Olelo, please mute your device at the time you're called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your testimony promptly. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, press *6 to unmute yourself when prompted. Hawaii Vice Statute Section 92-3.7 requires that all votes at remote meetings to be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will then call for a roll call vote. For those council members participating outside of the council chamber, in accordance with Hawaii Vice Statute Section 92-3.7, the meeting will automatically recess if we lose audiovisual contact with you and cannot reconvene until we reestablish contact. Therefore, please announce beforehand if you will be voluntarily signing out of the meeting. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of the meeting. Council members and members of the audience, the following item was not posted on the agenda for consideration. On page 12, we have a proposed FD1, Amendment to Resolution 23-239, CD1, initiating amendments to the Hawaii Vice Charter of the City and County of Honolulu, amended 2017 edition, as amended relating to the emergency management. Copies are available at the city's clerk's office downstairs in room 203. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Cordero?
Here.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Participating remotely here.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Here.
Councilmember Okimoto? Councilmember
Present.
Say? Councilmember Talba?
Here.
Councilmember Tupola? Councilmember Wire?
Here.
Chair Waters?
Here.
Mr. Chair, 9 members are present.
Thank you. The following council members are present in the council chamber. Councilmember Tupola, Councilmember Say, Councilmember Kia Aina, Cordero, Wire, Okimoto, Tolba, and myself. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam is participating remotely by video conference. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, in accordance with the HRS Section 92-3.7, please identify each person who is with you at your location.
There's no one here right now.
Thank you. Also present in the council chamber are legislative branch staff, members of the city administration, media representatives, and a special duty police officer. Floor Leader Cordero, are there any guests for introduction?
Thank you, Chair. And there's none in addition to the members that you introduced earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Kia Aina, motion to approve the minutes.
I move that the minutes of the 17th session be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the minutes? Noting no objections or reservations, the minutes have been approved. Turning to the top of page 4, order of the day. From the Committee on Planning and the Economy, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 53 and Resolution 23-305 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This measure confirms the appointment of Elena Bryant to serve on the Planning Commission of the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you so much. My understanding is that Ms. Bryant is joining us via Zoom. Is that correct, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. She has just joined us.
Aloha, welcome. Would you like to say a few words, Ms. Bryant?
Aloha, Chair, members of the City Council. I apologize for not being able to attend in person today, but I would just like to take a moment to reiterate my thanks to the Mayor and his team and to the Council and your staff for shepherding me through this nomination process and for putting your trust and faith in me. As I shared during my individual meetings with some of the Council members, I'm honored, humbled, and excited about the opportunity to serve our community in this capacity, and I look forward to adding to the diversity and expertise of the Planning Commission as someone with a background in Native Hawaiian law, environmental law, and Native Hawaiian traditional and customary practices. So mahalo for your time and consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions for Ms. Bryant? Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Just excited to have her on board.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members?
Chair.
Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, I also want to echo that sentiment. Had a great discussion with her. I love the diversity of her background and excited to have her on the Planning Commission. It's going to add some deepened perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. I just want to echo what both Councilmember Kia Aina and Councilmember Tupola mentioned. And I don't know, I think Councilmember Kia Aina, does that make us to majority women?
That is correct. It's 5 wahine and 4 kane.
Mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 53 and Resolution 23-305 has been adopted. Congratulations and thank you, Ms. Bryant. Moving to the bottom of page 4, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 54 and Resolution 23-307 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
Confirming the reappointment of Jeffrey Hong to serve on the Liquor Commission of the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you so much. Aloha, Mr. Hong. Thank you so much for being here and your willingness to serve a second term. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kia Aina, I appreciate the faith and trust and your support in this reappointment to the Liquor Commission. The agency, at a time of transition and challenge, you and the Mayor's office have helped to staff a new set of commissioners and leaders in the agency. It's greatly appreciated, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of this team.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Mr. Hong? Seeing none, thank you for being here today. Appreciate your presence. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. We're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 54 and Resolution 23-307 has been adopted. Congratulations and thank you, Mr. Hong. Moving to the top of page 5 from the Committee on Public Safety, Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I move the Committee Report 56 and Resolution 23-306 be adopted.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Confirming the appointment of Lori Foster to serve on the Police Commission of the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you very much. Aloha, Ms. Foster. Thank you for being here. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, aloha. I just want to thank you also for your confidence. I'm really looking forward to serving. I actually take it very, very seriously. And please know that I'll give it everything I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Ms. Foster? Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola, followed by Kia Aina.
Yeah, I would like to say that she did take it very seriously. I loved the conversation we had, and I do think that she's very fit to serve. Even though the background might not be there on this, I think the diligence is, and that's kind of what we need. She immediately asked me for, what is the Honolulu Police vision, mission? Where can she read the latest long-term plan for the department? And I sent it over, and she started reading through it. So I do love the proactivity. I like the idea of her really getting in there and trying to do some problem solving that may not have to do with personnel, but more about organization. I'd also like to state that I did file a disclosure, Council Communication 9. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Also wanted to welcome her on board, and similar to the Planning Commission, her appointment today will make the Police Commission a majority women for Wahine and 3 Kane. So it's a good day for women today, and I think the mayor and his administration should be applauded because several of the other nominees today on other commissions are predominantly women on the commission. But for the Planning Commission and the Police Commission to have majority women, it should be lauded. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to just echo what my fellow colleagues have said. I think the majority of us, if not all, had the pleasure of meeting with Ms. Foster. She took the time to meet with us. And I really appreciate those who, like Councilmember Tupola mentioned, maybe the background is not there, but she has a lot of really successful merits to her professional career, and yet she's taking the time to volunteer for this position. This is a very important position. We know that the Police Commission carries a lot of responsibility, and so we look forward to all that she's going to offer and working with you. Thank you, Ms. Foster. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none. Any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 56 and Resolution 23-306 has been adopted, and thank you and congratulations, Ms. Foster. Now moving to the top of page 6, Resolution 24-35, confirming the appointment of Cynthia Lynch to serve on the Ethics Commission of the City and County of Honolulu. Is Ms. Lynch here? Aloha, welcome. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much. Aloha, and I would like to say thank you to the mayor and his team for putting my name forward in resolution for this position. I'm an associate professor at HPU, and I've been researching, teaching, writing about ethics for more than 27 years. This is an opportunity to put all that I've learned into practice for real people in real time, and I am honored and thrilled at the prospect. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. Any discussion? Seeing none, Resolution 24-35 has been referred to the Committee on Executive Matters and Legal Affairs. Resolution 24-36, confirming the appointment of Marie Kumabe to serve on the Salary Commission of the City and County of Honolulu. Is Ms. Oh, welcome. Thank you for being here today. Would you like to say a few words? There you go.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, Council members. My name is Marie Kumabe. Thank you for entertaining my candidacy to serve with the Salary Commission. I look forward to answering any questions. Wanted to thank the administrative team for shepherding me through the process. First time in doing something like this. Aloha.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion at this time, Resolution 24-36 have been referred to the Committee on the Budget. Members, moving to the top of page 7, first reading items. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 24-50 pass first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution initiates amendments to the revised charter of the City and County of Honolulu, as amended, relating to the establishment of a Department of Ocean Safety.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have both in-person and remote testifiers.
Okay, let's start with in-person. Mr. Clerk, who is our first testifier?
We have Andrew Yanni.
Hello, Mr. Yanni. Thank you for being here. Please proceed.
Okay, it's been a while since I've been on this side of the microphone. Thank you, Chair Waters. Thank you, Council, today for your time. I came down today really just to testify as a personal matter. I'll try and keep it into my 2 minutes. But it's very personal to me as well. I think many of you know me from other walks of life, but I think some of the most fond and proud and honorable moments I've ever had as a human being were sitting in a lifeguard tower back in the day when they were orange. And I think some of you remember our wooden towers. And so it was very important for me to show up today. I think we have an opportunity here. We've had a couple of paradigm shifts as leaders in not only in the state, but nationally and internationally, which doesn't always happen. In Hawaii, I like to believe that we can be the best at whatever we put our mind to, but we truly are the best here at ocean safety and what we do. We've shown an incredible track record, and it started out, I won't get into history too much because I know my time is short, but I was gone from the department before it got swallowed by EMS. And I think that that was an incredible historical moment that we need to recognize as a paradigm shift that we're looking at right now as well. We move then to a bigger budget. With that, we have the advent of jet skis, training, and I also believe that in business and life, a lot of this is timing. And so I want to thank, obviously, the leaders, John Titchin. We have a mayor supports this, council chair, Councilmember Topola, and our council here. We have great leadership in what I believe could be the next iteration of showing the world how to lead in ocean safety. The right people are in place, and by doing something like this, we're giving our best leaders and those folks on the beach the opportunity to really continue to be the best in the world. And for those of you who aren't aware, just a small example, we have a delegation coming here in the next 2 months to learn from us. And to me, that embodies the Aloha spirit. It embodies the perpetuation of Hawaiian water sports and how this culturally fits with all of our principles and ethics. And to have leaders from the world come to Hawaii to learn from us and to learn from what we know is something that we should all embrace and be extremely proud of. And as I said before, I believe that leadership from this council to the mayor's office to the chief are all perfectly placed to do some really incredible things. I see this as the second paradigm shift for Ocean Safety Division. I will leave on one note. I had the honor of serving at Sandy Beach, and I will tell you, right up until the moment where you actually realize you need help, I have never once in my life done a rescue where either the person or the family member didn't look back and with every piece of authenticity and honesty in their eyes say thank you. And that is a feeling that you only get from serving. And I want to give these men and women in that tower this opportunity to continue to be international leaders on this stage. And I think the leadership in here is ripe for helping them do that. So thank you for giving me extra time, Council Chair.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Mr. Yanni? Seeing none, thank you. I believe that's the only registered testifier we have on this matter, but I do note Tim Gary did raise his hand, so please proceed to the microphone.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Almost 3 years ago, I had a meeting with the mayor, and only him and me in his office for an hour. Here's my notes from that meeting. The homeless situation in Waikiki, we took care of it. The surf contest issue in town, we took care of it. Number 3 was ocean safety being their own department. We haven't taken care of it. I have a lot of imagination about what ocean safety can be. A lot of it is private-public partnership. There is so much money out there. Companies, corporations, people that want to be associated with ocean safety. I want to build a new headquarters out on the North Shore, sponsored by private money, a triage center, ocean safety headquarters with a helipad that can evacuate people that are injured and don't have enough time to get to the hospital. Same thing in town. We need a headquarters that's modern, updated. I think we can get funds from the private sector to help with this. There's a lot of things that can be done with ocean safety, and for whatever reason, there's not enough resources to go around and have the imagination to expand this. Everybody wants to do something with Honolulu ocean safety. They're recognized around the world as the top agency. Let's get this done. I appreciate everybody. I think everybody agrees to do it. So let's just get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, anybody else wishing to testify?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the in-person testifiers. I do have one person online
Okay,
remotely.
please proceed.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Thank you. Raquel Achu here, North Shore. Mahalo for the opportunity to speak this morning. Mahalo, Councilmember Tupola, for this resolution. Naturally, I support any measure that promotes the forward movement of this effort for our Ocean Safety Department. It's a long time coming, and we really need to make this push. It's dire for our department to be an effective and efficient operation and program. In this resolution, I'd also like to acknowledge the task force that the mayor announced in his 2023 State of the City address. Looking for those findings and who the task force is. Are they people who are qualified to provide those recommendations and concerns? I mean, it's just kind of been a quiet type of force that I know our community is looking towards. Also, a future commission, I strongly believe, should include select individuals within the communities those operations support and serve, basically to provide balance, accountability, and insight to the communities they serve. I appreciate your time. Mahalo.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you. Is someone from the admin here, Chief Titchens?
According to Mayor's Message 33, Mike Formey, Managing Director, is assigned to address the council on this, but I do see the Deputy Managing Director here. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and Council members. Christian Jara, I'm Deputy Managing Director. So I apologize if you don't have it in front of you, but there should be a communication from the Managing Director in which he speaks to the work of the Ocean Safety Task Force and the fact that the report from the Ocean Safety Task Force should be coming out shortly. They've met 11 times over 7 months. And so for right now, the administration is respectfully withholding our position on this reso until we can see the results of that task force and have a chance to discuss it with the task force itself. But I'm here to answer any questions you all might have. Thank you.
That was the question. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure everyone had gotten that and that it was clear. So we look forward to hearing when the report comes out. Thank you so much, Deputy.
Thank you. Any further questions for the Deputy Managing Director? Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. So just to clarify, so I actually was going to ask questions about, and I was going to ask it towards Director Ireland and also Chief Titchen. Are you saying that is it not the right time to ask questions? I kind of wanted to know the logistics, the pros and cons. Is that, can I ask them those questions, or are we to go through you?
No, so Councilmember, I don't presume to dictate what questions you all can ask. You're free to ask any questions you wish to ask. I'm just here to relay our position, which is that the task force report is not complete yet. And so at least for our position, we're withholding it until that task force is ready.
Chair, if it's okay, I would like to ask Director Ireland as well as Chief Titchen if they could come up. I was interested to know
absolutely
the logistics, feasibility, and pros and cons. I'm sure that I'm guessing there are both to doing this. So I would like to get your feedback if that's possible.
Sure, Councilmember Chair, thank you. You know, from my standpoint as the director, I want what's best for our whole department. I want what's best for ocean safety, for EMS, for CORE, and also for health services. I have had a career in EMS, and I see that, you know, in our department, unlike fire and police, the way it's set up now, it'd be very hard to get somebody who's had a career in both. I've had a career in EMS. I was a YMC pool lifeguard in Kahala Mall, but I've never been an ocean safety or beach lifeguard. The previous director, Jim Howe, spent his career in ocean safety. He had not worked in EMS. He'd been as a career in ocean safety. So I do see that as one of the potential benefits of having a separate department. But again, I don't want to go into all the details that may or may not be in this committee report, and I purposely didn't sit on the committee. I wanted to let them do their work. Chief Titchen, other ocean safety experts were on the committee, and I'm really eagerly awaiting their report, which I think is imminent. And by imminent in government, maybe 2 weeks. And by the time this goes to committee, we may have that report released. And I think the administration will have a lot to say about it. And I'm actually very excited about the possibilities of what the future holds. So again, just wanting the best for such a great team all around. And I think the previous testifier talked about paradigm shifts, and I see it more as evolution. Agencies and departments evolve, and I think at the time when EMS and ocean safety came together, I think that was a good evolution at that time, and now we're in a different time. And the agencies are bigger, still very specialized, still doing great work. So again, I'm just eager for the report and look forward to talking more about it once it comes out. And I'll just yield to Chief Titchen about his thoughts as well.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Council members. I'm John Titchen. I'm the Chief of Ocean Safety for the City and County of Honolulu's Ocean Safety Division under Emergency Services Department. And obviously, this is a very unique situation for our workforce and for me as their representative. Obviously, I stand in strong support of this resolution, and on behalf of all of the lifeguards in the City and County of Honolulu, we thank in particular Councilmember Tupola for introducing this, but also all of you. I know that you're very intimately familiar with the awesome work that our amazing men and women do. You've been out to visit with them, see the towers that they work from, visit the beaches that they guard, get on the jet skis that they use. We are also immensely appreciative of the work and support of Mayor Blangiardi for our division and for the Emergency Services Department in general. It's a privilege for our lifeguards to work alongside our EMS heroes as well. So we're very confident that our mayor is going to carefully study what we've discussed as a task force. I think I would be remiss in commenting on any of that deliberation. Plus, it's just my opinion. I think the division, I think the workforce, I think the community will benefit from a Department of Ocean Safety that has subject matter experts as commissioners, just the way police and fire do. The last thing I would like to say is that we're so stoked as lifeguards to be watching this collaborative effort by our Honolulu City Council and our mayor and his team. It blows us away to literally watch in action this historic moment for our workforce, for our 107-year history. This is a huge step, and it probably requires some good, careful thought, but obviously we stand in support of this, and our understanding of the process is that this is step one of several steps today. And we're completely understanding of that, and we feel that that gives the community the chance to weigh in, which they did, and we're pretty stoked on the community, and particularly the three testifiers here, two in person and one on the computer. Happy to take any questions. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Ireland and Chief Titchen, and I look forward to seeing the results from the task force report as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. I guess this would be the Deputy Managing Director, unless Director or Chief Titchen had additional insight, but just following up on Ms. Hachu's question, and you may not know the specifics, or you may, but I was just curious in looking at the memo, do you have an idea of who participated or is participating in the group that was formed?
I'll defer to Dr. Ireland on that.
Okay, and I ask as Director or Dr. Ireland comes up, just because, as mentioned, it is important. I think particularly, you have frontline folks and also probably admin folks and community. But do you have any specifics you can share or generalizations?
The way we selected is I asked the union representing the lifeguards for names. I asked Chief Titchen for names, and I provided some names. And that was a group of, I think, 12 or 14 people. Not all have been able to participate as fully as others. But I know Chief Titchen was on the committee, Brian Phillips, one of our previous lifeguards who was their union representative, Shane Enright, who's here, Ralph Godo, Libby Char, as well as other members from the community as well. But generally, if I'm not mistaken, all of them had some current or former connection to ocean safety.
Mahalo for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Kiaina.
I have a question for the Deputy Managing Director. As you know, we have had a discussion previously when Councilmember Tsuneyoshi had her bill, so I don't think anybody disagrees with the merits of what is being proposed. My concern is within the apparatus of the overall executive branch, what is your cap on the amount of departments that you can have? I know many of us have asked for a Department of Housing. And so given that, for me, I do believe this bill should move not going to be detrimental to other objectives.
So Vice Chair, you're absolutely right about that. My understanding is that right now we have room for one more department, but I'll confirm that and get back to you. And of course, we have to consider all of those factors that you just mentioned as we work through this.
So apart from the potential Department of Housing, and I understand it may be, you might be taking a different route, and we look forward to that update, what other potential departments is the administration considering or that you have been asked to look into apart from the Department of Housing?
So Vice Chair, during last year's State of the City, the mayor did also ask DPP to look at itself. So that's something that we're looking at, but otherwise we have no other new departments on the horizon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any follow-up questions, members? I just have one. If we did divide Department of Planning and Permitting into two departments, would that meet our cap? Not saying that I am, and I see members, the director and deputy director, but that was a discussion that we had a few years ago.
So my understanding is we have room for more. So if we were to create, or if we were to split any department into two at this point, that would hit our cap.
I see. Okay, thank you. Members, any follow-up discussion? Councilmember Tupolo.
Thank you so much, Chair. Yeah, I do want to mention that you know, Councilmember Tsuneyoshi did introduce a similar resolution to put on the ballot, but a few things had surfaced since then, right? In 2021, they passed HB 1281, which actually gave us the full discretion over the state and the city portions of EMS, and prior that wasn't the case. So we want to thank EMS because honestly, they were given a $50 million operation that was actually running a huge deficit, and they're trying to still overcome that and fill positions and do everything that our county needs. So I think that is one thing, right? One thing that happened in my district that also encouraged me to introduce this resolution was the creation of Kahe Tower, which there hadn't been a new lifeguard tower for 11 years. And then yourself, Councilmember Wire, others had advocated, and then we got 17 new lifeguard positions, and they filled it like that. And so it's one of those departments that hasn't had the vacancy issues. There are lots of people interested in being lifeguards, and quite frankly, I've been very impressed that not only are they interested in being lifeguards, but for their whole life. I mean, Brian isn't even a lifeguard anymore, and he's still advocating and fighting. He's not the union rep. And so I've noticed that with the lifeguards, it is a lifestyle that they want to continuously support ocean safety for their whole entire life and also their children. And so I do think that some of the comments the mayor made in his State of the City was that he would create the task force, of which they met, I think, about 14 times, and we look forward to that report. But also he said, if the well-reasoned solution to a long-standing problem involves the reorganizing of our government to better reflect the priorities of our people, that's a challenge we will face head-on. And so he made a couple other mentions, and I do want to thank the 102 people that testified and sent in written testimony for today, and I hope that we can flesh out any other parts of the conversation in committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, just as a teachable moment for those watching at home, this is a charter amendment. A charter is like our Constitution. It requires 3 readings, each of which must pass by a supermajority of 6 votes. And then the mayor has the ability to put it on the ballot or not because we're within 1 year of the Charter Commission. Otherwise, it would automatically go on the ballot. So the mayor actually gets the last say. But if that happens, it goes on the ballot, and it must be approved by 50% plus 1, right? Looking over at Office of Council Services. So there is many, many steps that need to happen before this actually occurs. But As mentioned, this is the first step. Along with everything on pages 7 through 9, first reading measures. Yeah? So I'm going to call for the roll. Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. Resolution 24-50 has passed first reading. Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that the first reading items listed on pages 7 to 9 of the agenda pass first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
Bill 4 amends ordinance number 0128. Bill 5 relates to noise control. Bill 6 relates to permits. And Bill 7 relates to declaring the city and county of Honolulu a Purple Heart city. Bill 8 relates to community workforce agreements. Bill 9 relates to transportation. And Bill 10 relates to building permits.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers for the aforementioned bills?
Yes, we do, both in person and remote.
Okay, let's start with Bill 4. Any testifiers on Bill 4 relating to ordinance number 01-28? Seeing none, let's move on to Bill 5. Bill 5 relating to noise control. Hello, welcome. Jolie Toku Sato and Benjamin Sadowski from Unite Here Local 5.
Good morning, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kia Aina, and council members. My name is Ben Sadowski with Unite Here Local 5. We oppose Bill 5 because it imposes further limits on speech and public demonstrations than the limits already in existence. This is a critical moment in the history of the United States and of Hawaii for preserving and defending our rights, our communities, and our freedom. Repressive governments have come to power in several countries now: Argentina, Hungary, Peru, Italy, Uganda, Myanmar, El Salvador, and so on. And politicians in the United States are working with those leaders of those countries to work on bringing some of the most repressive policies here. Several state legislatures have worked hard to cut the rights of women, the LGBTQ community, immigrants, and other working people as well. As these policies create large-scale suffering, those who speak out often face increasing danger of retaliation, sanctions, and even violence. This is happening now, here in the US. The situation will not magically improve on its own, and it will not improve through silence. We cannot simply vote away these problems or solve them with strongly worded letters. These are problems that require people to get involved, to demonstrate collectively. The civil rights movement, the struggle for marriage equality, the ongoing struggle for women's rights have all mobilized and informed people through demonstration, the power of the people. The more limits are imposed on the ability to stand up for our rights, the more rights we are bound to lose. So while we understand the intention of Bill 5 is not to curb protest, it certainly would have the effect of making it more difficult, increasing the possibilities of citation for a new set of reasons. And we wonder how might future administrations use these rules. We cannot assume that they will have good intentions. So we ask you to please reject Bill 5 and understand that it would come at a real cost to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions for Mr. Sadowski? Seeing none. Next, we have Jolie Toku Sato.
Good morning, Chair, Waters, Vice Chair Kia Aina, and members. My name is Jolie Tokusato, and I'm giving my personal thoughts on Bill 5. I think this bill caters to a minority that lives in a resort area, but it will affect the rights of many other people. You don't move to a farm and expect the animal poop not to stink. If you live in Pearl City, expect to sit in traffic if there's a fender bender. If you move to Waikiki, expect parades, festivals, crowds, and noise, because that's the nature of living in a resort area. For instance, for years, I knew that I had to get to work by 4 a.m. on Marathon Sunday because they closed the road for hours. I expected that. When I moved to Nu'uanu, I knowingly moved next to 40 roosters, but I didn't complain because they were there before me. I expected them to crow every single morning. I'm sure your intent is good, but there's terrible unintended consequences. You will be limiting our ability to express our needs to those with the power to affect our lives, like the corporations that come to Hawaii and profit off of us in our land, or those that want to stand up for the rights of others. There are other ways to stop excessive noise, using architecture, for instance, so please don't pass this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Tokusato? Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Clerk, any further testimony?
So Chair, I believe we have one more person in person for Bill 9, Mr. Kinney. Bill 8, sorry, excuse me.
We're on Bill 5. Bill 5. Seeing none, move
That
on to
concludes
Bill
the-
6. Bill 6. Any testifiers on Bill 6? Seeing none, Bill 7. Bill 7. Any testifiers on Bill 7?
Mr. Chair, the remote testifier is not logged on.
Okay. Bill 8. Related to community workforce. I see Nathaniel Kinney has registered to testify. As I mentioned, it is first reading. We don't want to curb your ability to speak on these bills, but we do have 24 pages of bills. There he is. Please proceed.
Sorry, members. Nathaniel Kinney for the Hawaii Regional Council of the Carpenters. We're in support of the bill. This basically just clarifies the definition of maintenance and what counts as a capital improvement project, and we believe this is extremely vital to make sure that the workforce is there to do these projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any further testimony on Bill 8? Seeing none. Bill 9, related to transportation. Bill 10, relating to building permits. Okay, members, we're in discussion. I do note that we do have members of the administration assigned to speak on all of these bills if members have any questions. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you, Chair. Should we just take one bill at a time, or can I comment on two?
You can talk about any bill you want.
Okay, Bill 5.
Okay.
First off, I want to thank both the testifiers. I thought their comments were on point and in line with what I'm going to bring up. I will be voting with reservations. I'm concerned about the constitutional implications of this bill, including references to constitutional rights in the preamble, which can underscore the bill's adherence to the fundamental legal principles. So I definitely am concerned, especially because it has been a longstanding right for Hawaiians to be able to peacefully protest. La Ku'oko'a, the Onipa'a March, had over 900 people. Not saying everyone was using some type of, device to broadcast their voice, but I do strongly believe that that's a right that is given to everyone, especially in the face of democracy, is their ability to speak out, share their voice, and in a way that's peaceful. But this bill is infringing on some of those. I'll go reservations today on this, but I do have the same concerns as both testifiers.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have very much voice, but I just wanted to state my opposition to Bill 5 in relation to the comments that were stated by the testifiers and the speaker before me. Thank you.
Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to note I'll be voting no on Bill 5 and just with no reservations on Bill 10.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I typically vote yes on all first reading items, but I will vote WR on Bill 5.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members?
Chair.
Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, I'll also be going with reservations on Bill 10. Definitely in favor of removing the affidavit requirement, but not in favor of additional fees to any of the permit applications at DPP. And I can have a longer discussion in committee about that, but I have huge reservations about us penalizing people for clerical errors and trying to charge them more for permits. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I believe we can take Bill 5 out of order, which will require a roll call vote, but we can take the other measures together. Is that correct, Mr. Clerk? Okay. So noting the the reservations on Bill 10 from Council Member Tupola, Wire, and was it Dos Santos Tam? No, just those two? Okay. The first reading items on pages 7 to 9 of the agenda have passed first reading. Moving to Bill 5, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
No.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Reservations.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Reservations.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba?
Reservations.
Councilmember Tupola?
No.
Councilmember Wire?
No.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there's 6 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. I was looking for the committee report. There are no committee reports yet. So Bill 5 passes first reading. Thank you, members. Now moving to page 10 from the Committee on Budget. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Committee Report 32 be adopted and Bill 2, CD1 as amended pass second reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This bill relates to public transit.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have no registered testifiers.
Thank you. Members are in discussion. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Aye. Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 32 has been adopted and Bill 2, CD1 has passed second reading. From the Committee on Zoning, Councilmember Say.
Mr. Chair, I move that Committee Report number 48 be adopted and Bill 65 of 2023, Committee Draft 1, as amended, pass second read.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Say for the explanation.
Relating to the adoption of the State Building Code.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, yes, we have several in-person testifiers registered.
Okay, please proceed. I have Ian Robertson, followed by Stephen Baldridge. Aloha, welcome.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and Council members. Thanks for this opportunity to testify. My name is Ian Robertson. I'm the Arthur Chu Distinguished Professor of Structural Engineering at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where I've taught structural engineering courses for the last 32 years. I'm also a licensed structural engineer in Hawaii and a past president of the Structural Engineers Association of Hawaii. For the past 22 years, much of my research has focused on the effects of tsunamis on buildings and how we can better design buildings to resist tsunami loads. Because the Honolulu City and County Department of Emergency Management recommends tsunami evacuation to high ground or to the 4th or higher floor of a 10-story or taller building, I think it is imperative for us to require tsunami design for those buildings exceeding 10 stories or approximately 90 feet, as now required in this bill. I therefore support the passing of this bill for the tsunami design of taller risk category 2 buildings. You might recall the partial collapse of the Champlain Towers South building in Surfside, Florida, killing 98 people. The collapse was initiated by a small failure at the bottom of the building related to design errors, construction errors, and corrosion maintenance issues. That small failure led to a partial collapse of the middle section of the building and subsequently the entire collapse of one wing of the building, killing 98 people. The buildings in Waikiki have not been designed for high seismic design. Some of them were designed for very low seismic design. Even our current seismic design is only half of what's required on the Big Island or all of California and most of the rest of the tsunami zones in the US. The buildings in Waikiki need to be designed for a higher level of tsunami design because they don't have intrinsic strength from the seismic design. The collapse of a single column at the base of one of these buildings could lead to a similar progressive collapse, and those have never been checked. And in new buildings, if we do not require this design on new buildings, we're building a larger inventory of buildings with suspect resistance to tsunami loads. Finally, on the other issue relating to the definition of hurricane windborne debris region, I'm also strongly in support of maintaining the long-standing definition in Honolulu City and County Code of the areas of design wind speed greater than 130 miles per hour requiring opening protection or a Hawaii residential safe room. As included in my written testimony, there was an image photograph taken about 2 miles from the coast in Kauai during Hurricane Iniki, showing all sorts of debris, including an entire shipping pallet flying through the air. The wind speed measured near that site was 130 miles an hour, which is also the design speed in that area. If we change the 130 mile per hour to 140 miles per hour, the buildings in that area would not be required to design for windborne debris, just as we see in the evidence of that photograph. So I'm strongly in favor of maintaining the status quo and continuing to require protection for openings or a Hawaii safe room, as is being done by many of the developers already in Hawaii in the 130 mile per hour zone, because that was the standing requirement in our code. So thanks very much for the extra time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Members, any questions? See none. Thank you very much. Is Stephen Baldridge available? Hello and welcome.
Thank you, Council Chair. Thank you, Council members, for allowing me to speak today. I'm a structural engineer as well. I've been a member of the Structural Engineering Association Code Committee since its inception. I'm an employer and I'm a mentor of youth. Anything that adds cost, more restrictive requirements to our built environment directly reduces the amount of affordable housing that we can produce in Hawaii. So maybe it's going to be a lot more safer than it needs to be or would be based on national codes. But what you're going to have is the youth that were here this morning, they're going to have to move to Vegas or they're going to have to move to Florida. My employees are going to have to move. So at some point, you have to start balancing stuff. So the discussion, wind, Northern Florida is the same wind speed as Honolulu. They do not require this. My family actually had a trailer in Florida for over 50 years without that glazing. This is the historic map of windborne debris regions, the stuff in yellow. This is what it got changed to. Now, that happened during the pandemic. These are the amendments that get created by people like this. We don't have time to read through all this stuff. DPP doesn't have time. City Council doesn't have time. I had a meeting with Kirk Caldwell, Tim Hugh from DPP. Tim Hugh said, Gary snuck that one by me. The mayor did not sign the code into law, but it was too late because City Council had voted it through. So now we got more expensive things going on. On tsunami, I don't know why anyone would bring up Champlain Tower. We studied that building. It fell down because of poor construction, super old codes. Has nothing to do with what we're designing now, which is robust. The Japan earthquake and tsunami, these gentlemen actually went there to look at it and said there were no buildings over 6 stories, concrete or steel, that collapsed. So buildings over 10 in Hawaii, even though they might not have as much seismic as Japan, the new buildings are safe. They're built to code, they're built seismic, they're fine. Haima is sending people into buildings over 10 stories, so they think they're okay, the old buildings, or somebody should start looking at that. The tsunami is not required. by DOD for any of their projects on base. It's not required in the state code. It was inserted technically in violation of the legislation of the state code based upon misrepresented information from these gentlemen. And when the AG realized that, they took it out of the state code. It's not in there anymore. It's not in the city and county code because we're under the state code. Hasn't been required for the past 3 years. We've done a lot of buildings with tsunami. We've actually been paid to do tsunami design. I'm looking at reducing my revenue by taking this out. Other people are looking at increasing their revenue. Many of the people at SEOH who testified are turning away design fees for tsunami because they don't believe it's necessary. Our buildings are robust now. They're high seismic, they're high wind. They're not gonna, it's not a safety issue. How safe do we wanna be? Maybe no one should be driving a car anymore because that's a lot more dangerous. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Members, any questions?
Chair, I don't have any questions, but I do want to make a comment. This is the second time on the same issue where we have testifiers disparaging the comments of others, and we should have decorum here. If people want to advocate for their position, then they should do so, but they shouldn't be using this forum here to be disparaging other testifiers. This is the second time that this has happened, and it's going to continue as this bill moves through the process. So I just want to make a comment on that.
Okay, thank you.
It's not helpful.
Thank you.
It's counterproductive.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Any further discussion, members, or questions for the testifier? Seeing none, next we have Gary Chalk, followed by Evan Owe. Mr. Chalk.
Hi, council members. I'm Gary Chalk, structural engineer, past president of the Structural Engineers Association, been on the Building Code Committee for about 30 years now, and also served on local, state, and national building code development organizations, and also worked on the Honolulu Hazard Mitigation Plan. So I'm here to support passage of Bill 65 CD1 because it has...
Sir, would you mind talking directly into the microphone? I can barely hear you, and I don't think people watching at home will be able to hear you.
Sorry.
No problem.
Is that better?
Much better, thank you.
Yeah, my voice is soft, sorry. So I'm here to speak in favor of Bill 65 CD1 because it includes, among other things, two measures that are of compelling public safety importance. One is the tsunami design of high-rise buildings. This is what's in Bill 65 is a continuation of existing requirements that were in the prior code, but modified to reduce the scope of application and to make for more economical implementation. So how that has been proposed is that we have changed the height from 45 to 90 feet. We have limited the occupancies for which it would apply, and we've included two additional ease of use provisions relating to checking of the structural system and of the foundation. So all of those things makes these provisions in section 1615, which are a continuation of the prior code, easier to and less costly to implement, and I think that'll be quite helpful. I think for those of you that are still perhaps have the reservations, DPP and I have had conversations about potentially, if it's possible, you might consider for this section 15 only, perhaps a delayed implementation verbiage inserted in that section to set it effective June 1st, 2025. That would give other structural engineers more time to ramp up. It would actually give them a full 5 years to have learned the tsunami design provisions because they were first adopted in May of 2020 in the Honolulu Building Code. Okay, the other thing is windborne debris, as Ian has mentioned, the 130 miles an hour has been in the State Building Code and City of Honolulu Code for quite some time. So I don't see a reason why we would change it now. Physics has been changed. The experience of Iniki and Eva are well documented that it's generating huge amount of windborne debris under 130 miles an hour. The measure also includes a more economical safe room that was worked out with D.R. Horton and other major developers. So I think that, oh, and the other thing is the 130 miles an hour criteria was validated by ballot by the Structural Engineers Association Building Code Committee in March of 2024. So that was reaffirmed as that position. So both measures are very important from a public safety standpoint. Both measures are actually relaxations of what was in a prior Honolulu Building Code that's been done to make it more practical, easier to use, and more economical. So I think those measures that are modified in 65 CD1 are deserving of being passed forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Mr. Cha? Seeing none. Next is Evan Owe.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 65 CD1? Hi, Mr. Arakawa, please proceed to the microphone. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the council. My name is Dave Arakawa, and I represent the Land Use Research Foundation of Hawaii, and I'm testifying on Bill 65. It's agenda item CR 48. We support the general intent of Bill 65. We support the general purpose of Bill 65. However, we object to 3 sections of Bill 65, and we would respectfully request that this council amend, or the committee amend, Bill 65 to include the 3 amendments proposed by Department of Planning and Permitting in their letter to the zoning committee chair dated December 20, 2023. Those pertain to number 1, windborne debris, number 2, tsunami design, and number 3, concrete. We'd like to thank DPP for extensive meetings with the experts. They had at least 1, if not 2, battle of the experts meetings where all of this was discussed. And, you know, I apologize, Member Kia'aina. I don't know, as an attorney, I don't know how to call out things. We're biting our tongue back there, and maybe there's another venue where we can call out things that are true and things are not true, or things that are shaded, and we'll leave that to another day. But after the battle of the experts, hearing more than what we heard today, ours, DPP came up with 3 revisions that protect the public and also keep the cost of housing at a reasonable level. So I would ask you, please, to trust DPP. They have gone through the battle of the experts. We could have in committee a battle of the experts again. And these engineers that support these amendments that DPP supports, they build housing. They sign plans. Their neck is on the line. Their insurance is on the line when it comes to health and safety. So please trust DPP. Please trust the experts. Thank you very much for your time and consideration, Mr. Chair and members of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Arakawa? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 65 CD1? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Question for the administration, please.
I believe, we have Deputy Director. Aloha. Thank you for being here.
Aloha, Chair. Jiro Sumada, Deputy Director for Department of Planning and Permitting.
Aloha. Deputy, thanks for being here. I found our meeting extremely useful when you explained all of the amendments and the things that DPP was trying to resolve in this. I just had one outstanding question, and that was in regards to 110.3.5, the lath and gypsum board, of which we kind of both were kind of on the middle on what DPP was going to do. I realize there'll be one more committee hearing, but has DPP taken a position on whether or not they will be allowing for that to be a part of the process that others will be able to verify, or only DPP will? Or are you guys still deciding?
Our position is still that we want to keep that inspection within the department and not allow special inspection for the fire rating with the lath and gypsum board.
Okay, yep, that was my only question. I mean, I know there's a lot of other outstanding edits, but I'll look forward to more discussion in committee. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions for DPP members? Seeing none, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Aye. Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 48 has been adopted, and Bill 65, 2023, CD1 has passed second reading. Thank you, members. Moving to the top of page 11 from the Committee on Housing, Sustainability, and Health, Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Committee Report 51 be adopted and Bill 1 pass second reading.
Councilmember Kia Aina for the second.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Wire for the explanation.
Relating to herbal cigarettes.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none. Oh, sorry, one in-person testifier.
Please proceed. Aloha.
Hello and good morning, James Yamanakushi, concerned parent, grandparent. You know, my only concern, Mr. Chair, is that a cigarette is a cigarette. And the cigarettes for me is nicotine. So if this has nicotine in it, I'm really against nicotine. So if nicotine is in this, I'm against the nicotine. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further testifiers, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chair, there are none.
Thank you, members. We're in discussion. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Reservations?
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Reservations?
Councilmember Say? Aye. Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 51 has been adopted, and Bill 1 has passed second reading. Moving to the top of page 12, third reading items. From the Committee on Executive Matters and Legal Affairs, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 38 be adopted and Resolution 23-239, CD1 as amended, pass third reading. This initiates amendments to the revised charter of the City and County of Honolulu 1973, amended 2017 edition as amended, relating to emergency management.
Second.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam explained it. Is there a motion to amend? Councilmember Wire.
Yes, Chair. I move to further amend Resolution 23-239 CD1 to the hand-carried FD1 posted as OCS 2024-0185.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Wire for the explanation of the amendment.
I would defer to the posting unless I should read the read it? Oh, it's not posted. Okay. So proposed FD1 makes the following amendments to the proposed CD1. Section A amends the 11th whereas clause to add the qualifier currently, since the duties and responsibilities of the Director of Emergency Management class specification listed on the Department of Human Resources website may change in the future. Section B amends the 12th whereas clause to add the qualifier currently, since the qualifications for the Director of Emergency Management class specification as listed on the DHR website may change in the future. Amends the 14th whereas clause to refer to the Department of Emergency Management positions rather than staff. Section D, in the be it resolved clause, In Section 1, amends the question to be placed on the 2024 general election ballot to refer to the Department of Emergency Management positions rather than staff. In Section 2, amends Charter Section 3-122.1 to state that the Salary Commission does not determine the salaries of directors and deputy directors who are appointed in accordance with civil service laws, rather than just the Director of Emergency Management and the Deputy Director of Emergency Management. In Section 6, amends the new charter, Section 6-1902, subsection A, to provide that Director of Emergency Management shall possess a minimum of 5 years of responsible administrative experience in emergency management, disaster planning, or public safety services management, at least 2 years of which must have included supervising emergency management or homeland security activities, or both, rather than a minimum of 5 years of professional experience in emergency management, disaster planning, or public safety services management, at least 3 of which must have been in responsible administrative capacity. Section E, and then makes miscellaneous technical and non-substantive amendments.
Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the amendment? Noting no objections or reservations to the amendment, Resolution 23-239 CD1 has been amended to the hand-carried FD1. Any objections or reservations to waiving Council Rule 19G, the 48-hour notice? Seeing none, it has been waived. Members, we are in discussion on the FD1. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Tolba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 38 has been adopted, and Resolution 23-239 CD1 FD1 has passed third reading. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 37 be adopted and Bill 44 of 2023, CD1, as amended, pass third reading. This relates to false statements, deterring persons from making false statements to the building official.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded and explained. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Tolba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 37 has been adopted, and Bill 44, 2023, CD1 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 13 from the Committee on Parks, Enterprise Services, and Culture and the Arts, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that CR 50 be adopted, Bill 63, 2023, CD1 pass third reading as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Relating to concessions.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. We're in discussion. Saying none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Tolba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
I'm a no.
Sorry, is that a?
No.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. CR 50 has been adopted, and Bill 63, 2023, CD1 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 14 from the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 33 and Resolution 24-13 be adopted.
Second.
This relates to the transfer of funds for the medical examiner.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members who are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 33 and Resolution 24-13 has been adopted. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 34 and Resolution 24-20, CD1, as amended, be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds for the Department of Land Management.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Members who are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 34 and Resolution 24-20, CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 15, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 35 and Resolution 24-21 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds within the Department of Transportation Services.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noted no objections or reservations, CR 35 and Resolution 24-21 has been adopted. From the Committee on Executive Matters and Legal Affairs, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 39 and Resolution 24-25 CD1 as amended be adopted. This establishes a sister city relationship with Rarotonga, Cook Islands.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Thank you for the explanation. Do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have one person standing by remotely.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Waters and council members. My name is Carlo Capua, and I'm coming to you from the city of Fort Worth, Texas, here in City Hall. I am also the incoming chair for the National Board of Directors for Sister Cities International, and I cannot overstate how meaningful this relationship with Rarotonga that you're about to sign is so important to all of us, because about a year ago, the Department of State, the National Security Council, and the White House actually reached out to us as sister cities and said, we really want to create more sister city partnerships with the Pacific Islands. And actually, President Biden and Vice President Harris have committed to a deeper relationship with our friends in the Pacific Islands. So our goal is to create 7 sister city partnerships with the Pacific Islands to celebrate our 70th anniversary for sister cities. So we were calling it our 7 for 70 initiative. And so this means when you all in Honolulu, if you sign your agreement with Rarotonga, you'll be the very first city partnership in this initiative that's backed by our government and our White House. And so we are ready to highlight you to our partners and our members all around the world. And I'd like to add that you are also inspiring other U.S. cities to find partners in Papua New Guinea, Kiribati, Vanuatu, Tonga. And so you're really, this is very, very important and significant to this organization and our country. And so I just wanted to say personally, on behalf of all 500 sister city partners around the country, and the thousands of global partnerships, we are so proud of the work that Honolulu is doing to bring peace and security and global stability to people all around the world. And we plan on coming to FestPac this summer, a small group of us, to just commend you, to salute you, and to celebrate you. And I'd also like to give a shout out to 2 of your key staff members that have helped us out, Ms. Kaili O'Connell and Ms. Angela Miguel, for their enthusiasm and for their partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifiers? Councilmember Kia Aina.
Thank you. Sir, thank you so much for testifying. I did want to say that Councilmember Dos Santos Tam and I are looking at other areas. The Marshall Islands will likely be rejuvenated because they actually have one. And
Wonderful.
we are looking at a place in, of course, Melanesia. And if you're saying that the White House did call, actually after the passage, to mahalo us and to say that they are encouraging Honolulu to enter into other relationships in the Pacific. But since you said that you're shooting for 7, I highly encourage that you work with other cities in the continent, especially those with significant Pacific Islander populations. Because we can only do so much prior to FESPAC, but I wanted to thank you for your support, and we look forward to this relationship and the relationship of others in Oceania.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further questions for the testifier? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. Thank you very much for testifying. We really appreciate that. And I was just wondering what initiatives and components does the federal government support these relationships with Rarotonga, Cook Islands?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So, as you know, the concept of peace and global stability is so important. We have support in every way from the Department of State, who obviously is charged with the international affairs for the United States. We are funded through a grant from the State Department to help support cities just like yours and to support these relationships like the ones you're building with Rarotonga. We have member toolkits, we have virtual roundtables, and we have best practices that we are ready to share with you all in Honolulu as you build your portfolio of Pacific Island relationships. So we are here to help. We also have contacts that are foreign service officers in every country in the world where there's an embassy or a presence. So feel free to reach out to us, and we can connect you with those folks stationed in the Pacific Islands to do what we can to help.
Thank you very much for your response, and thank you again for being before us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just want to reiterate that one of the main purposes for sister cities is to foster global security and peace. It would be nice we could work with you to find out how we can perhaps apply for a grant to help with this meaningful endeavor.
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. So coincidentally, next summer, summer 2025, we plan on taking the other U.S. cities, Long Beach, California, New Orleans, Louisiana, Savannah, Georgia, and there's one more, and I always forget, but they're very interested in Charleston, South Carolina. They are interested in going, and obviously they're much further away from the Pacific Islands than you are, but we're working with the State Department to potentially find funding. And if not, when I take over as chair, one of my priorities is to find grants to continue to build upon these relationships. We, especially in the mainland, have so much we can learn from our friends in the Pacific Islands. I spent one summer in Papua New Guinea when I was 22 years old, and it was absolutely life-changing. So I'm a believer in this program. I grew up in sister cities. It has changed my life in a big way. And when I see people, especially the young generation, these are our future ambassadors, our future foreign service officers, our future community leaders, when they go and have an international experience and they come back, they see the world through a different lens. And so the more that we can do that for our next generation of leaders, the better. And so to answer your question, yes, we will do everything we can to help support this and find some grant funding to help make this a reality.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none. Any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 39 and Resolution 24-25 CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 16, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 40 and Resolution 24-32 be adopted. This is to retain the legal services of Kobayashi Sugita Ngoda LLP as Special Deputy Corporation Counsel for the City and County of Honolulu on behalf of Petitioner, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services, City and County of Honolulu, in a legal action entitled The Estate of Richard Lee Jackson, P number 12-1-0425 Circuit Court.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as well as explained. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. We're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 40 and Resolution 24-32 has been adopted. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 41 and Resolution 24-33 be adopted. This is to amend contract number SC-COR 23-00086 to request additional funds to continue the services of McCorston Miller Mukai McKinnon LLP as special counsel to represent defendant Jake Bartolome in the related legal actions entitled Ulani Gavea et al. For City and County of Honolulu et al., Civil Number 1 CCV 2100011150, Matthew Tabag Kalua et al. Versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil Number 1 CCV 22000415, and Jonathan Perkins Sinapati et al. Versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil Number 1 CCV 22000429 Circuit Court, and to allow the representation of defendant Jake Bartolome in Ulani Gavea et al. Versus Rick Blangiardi et al. Case number 1CB 2300378 JAOWRP, U.S. District Court.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as well as explained. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations?
No vote.
No vote?
No vote.
Thank you. That was Councilmember Okimoto. Councilmember Say. Nope. Okay. Any further? Yes. I see. The no vote triggers a roll call, members. So if there's no further discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
No.
Councilmember Say?
Aye.
Councilmember Toba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. CR 41 and Resolution 24-33 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 17, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 42 and Resolution 24-34 be adopted. This is to amend contract number SCCOR 23-00087 to request additional funds to continue the services of Kobayashi Sugita and Goda LLP as special counsel to represent defendant Eric Smith in the related legal actions entitled to Ulani Gavea et al. Versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Summon number 1 CCV 21000150, Matthew Tabag Kalua et al. Versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil number 1 CCV 22000415, and Jonathan Perkins Sinapati et al. Versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil number 1 CCV 22000429 Circuit Court, and to allow the representation of defendant Eric Smith in Ulani Gavea et al. Versus Rick Blangiardi et al. Case number 1 CV 2300378 JAOWRP USDC.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as well as explained. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Member, we're in discussion. Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I will also be voting in opposition of this measure.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Wire.
Actually, no discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Any objections or reservations, members? Noting the objection of Councilmember Okimoto, that triggers a roll call. Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
No.
Councilmember Say?
Aye.
Councilmember Toba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. CR 42 and Resolution 24-34 has been adopted. From the Committee on Zoning, Councilmember Say, bottom of page 17.
Mr. Chair, I move that Committee Report number 49, Resolution 2414, CD1, as amended, be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Say for the explanation.
It's granting a special management area major permit to allow for the construction of 2 new single-family dwellings, a swimming pool, and a garage in Mokuleia, Oahu.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember and been explained. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say?
Aye.
Councilmember Toba? Aye. Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 49 and Resolution 24-14, CD1, has been adopted. Members, moving to the top of page 18 from the Committee on Housing, Sustainability, and Health. Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Committee Report 52 and Resolution 24-16 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Wire for the explanation.
Adopting Climate Ready Oahu as a climate adaptation strategy and guiding policy document for the city and county of Honolulu.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. I note the presence of our Office of Climate Change and Resiliency. It's a good opportunity. Would you like to say a few words in support of the policy? Thank you for being here.
Aloha, good morning. Matt Gonzer, Executive Director for the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. Thank you for the opportunity to share some brief remarks. We're very excited to be at this milestone, and we appreciate all the collaboration over the past many years to have the whole of the team, right? City agencies, city council, community partners, and engagement with the state focused on the need to address climate impacts today and for tomorrow. So this is a really important milestone again for the city, and we're here to work with all of you on the continued implementation of this important work. Mahalo.
Thank you. And can you tell us when your press conference is going to be?
Oh, you just spilled the beans, Chair. We look forward to celebrating with several of the council members tomorrow, and there will be a notice going out this afternoon about a program at Makalapa Neighborhood Park.
Thank you very much. Members, any further discussion? Councilmember Cordero.
Just want to say that's in my district. Thanks.
All right. Any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 52 and Resolution 24-16 has been adopted. Congratulations and thank you for your hard work. From the Committee on Planning and the Economy, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 55 and Resolution 24-28 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of travel, lodging, and meals valued at $1,450 to the city from the International Economic Development Council for the Innovation and Technology Program Manager of the Office of Economic Revitalization to attend the Economic Recovery Corps kickoff training event in Portland, Oregon from February 11th to the 13th, 2024.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 55 and Resolution 24-28 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 19, from the Committee on Public Safety, Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Committee Report 57 and Resolution 24-15 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of $17,800 to the city from the Honolulu Firefighters Foundation, HFF, for various Honolulu Fire Department events.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 57 and Resolution 24-15 has been adopted. Councilmember Okimoto.
I move that Committee Report 58 and Resolution 24-26 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of approximately 900 pairs of Olokai footwear valued at $66,000 to the city from Olokai for use by ocean safety lifeguard personnel in the Honolulu Emergency Services Department.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Noting none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 58 and Resolution 24-26 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 20, balance of committee reports. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that the balance of committee reports be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
EMLA Committee Report 43, request for authorization to settle a case against Cheryl Sunia, a former employee of the City and County of Honolulu, in Roynes J. Doral II versus City and County of Honolulu et al. EMLA Committee Report 44, request for authorization to settle a case against defendants City and County of Honolulu and Susan Ballard and Deborah Lynn Thomas, individually and in her capacity as personal representative of the state of Kyle Thomas versus the City and County of Honolulu et al. EMLA Committee Report 45, request for authorization to settle a case against defendants Ronald V. Dumlau, Chance C. Correa, and Jose J. Villanueva, and Deborah Lynn Thomas, individually and in her capacity as personal representative of the state of Kyle Thomas versus City and County of Honolulu. EMLA Committee Report 46, request for authorization to settle a lawsuit against the City and County of Honolulu entitled Association of Unit Owners of Leo Leo Townhouse by its Board of Directors versus City and County of Honolulu. And lastly, EMLA Committee Report 47, request for authorization to settle claims against the City and County of Honolulu by Stephen Bowes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, the balance of committee reports has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 21. Unfinished business. There being no unfinished business, new business. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 2427 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution urges the legislature to pass legislation clarifying that the counties have the power to amortize or phase out non-conforming short-term rentals.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, I note that we have two registered testifiers. First, Audrey Strelzer.
Mr. Chair, that testifier is logged on.
Okay. Next, we have Karen O'Mahony.
Aloha, thank you for this opportunity to testify. Gosh, we've had so many complicated things today that you guys have had to understand. And I think that this one is actually more complicated than it appears. And I think that's why there appears to be support for it, because people think that doing away with the last short-term rentals on Oahu is going to somehow make affordable housing available. And it's not the case. It's not the case. We definitely need to solve that problem. We definitely need to solve the problem for Maui, but we don't have the accurate information. And for instance, if I have to stop renting the rental that I have where we also live, then we'll have to sell our house. But it's not going to be a local family that's going to get to buy it. I mean, housing prices are astronomical now, as we know. It'll just be a mainland person with a lot of money. And speaking of mainland people, I mean, I didn't mean to disparage them. Thank you for that reminder, Councilmember Kia Aina. But one of my friends actually has a rental here, and his wife grew up in Kaimuki, and they lived in a one-room house, and now she's a doctor, and they have a lot of, they have money. And so they bought this house and they rent it for the months that they're not here. And when they retire, then they'll be able to retire here. But it's a $3 million house. Like, making it so they can't have 30-day rentals is not going to open up housing for local folks. And I think we really don't have all the information. We don't get to have a battle of the experts like they have done in some other bills that we heard about today. We just get to have this couple minutes that people that appear to be vested get to argue against each other, but we don't really get to ever have the battle of the experts. We don't get to, respectfully, the numbers that Governor Green puts out there, I would wonder if those are accurate. And no one's ever asked me, no one's ever asked any of my neighbors who live and have rented their houses for decades to make their mortgage payments. So I really wish we could get to the bottom of what's actually happening. And, if we're going to demonize mainland people or those of us doing legal 30-day rentals, that certainly happened at other meetings. I hope it doesn't happen today. But I really think we need to get the information, and we need to really solve the problems. And I don't think that this bill is going to do that. And another note is, we just, as taxpayers, paid at least $300,000 to defend the last unconstitutional bill that came through. And that doesn't even include all the time of the courts and the judges and the city's attorneys. So we're paying a ton of money for this problem that is it's not going to get us to the solution that we want, but it's costing us taxpayers a lot of money. And there's a lot of residents that actually use this to be able to live here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Kiaina.
Thank you, Chair. Members, this is a resolution that I introduced. And as many of you know, in our discussion on Bill 41, 2021, I know it's a challenge elsewhere, but in my case, constituents in my community have consistently shared how their quality of life has been impacted with the explosion of short-term rentals or commercial uses in our residential communities. The council responded to this concern by passing Bill 41, 2021, which was later enacted into law by Mayor Blangiardi as Ordinance 22-7. Amidst other modifications, this law modified the definition of short-term rentals as units that are rented for less than 90 consecutive days. More recently, the law was challenged, and a decision was made by the Federal District Court to enjoin the enforcement of this ordinance insofar as it prohibits 30 to 89-day home rentals or the advertisement of such rentals, and insofar as it prohibits the rental or advertisement of 30 to 89 days rentals lawfully existing as of the ordinance's effective date. This decision prohibits the city from enforcing this important provision that would curb the impacts of short-term rentals felt in our neighborhoods. Currently, the state legislature is considering legislation to give the counties that authority, and I wanted to introduce this measure to demonstrate that the city and city council supports them. So my measure today urges the state legislature to pass legislation, which is already pending, clarifying that counties have the authority to phase out short-term rentals by modifying Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 46, which gives the county its land use authorities. By amending the state law, the city and county would be able to provide relief to our residential communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Tupola.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the introducer and for the explanation as well. I definitely want and always have supported our local residents here and trying to make it a place where, you know, families can live here for generations. That's really what all of us want. I was not in support of Bill 41, and I do agree with some of the sentiments as stated in regards to Judge Watson's ruling. I can't support this resolution at this time because it suggests that the state give the counties power over non-conforming use certificates, which in our county is 753 STRs and 32 B&Bs, so a little under 1,000. I want to highlight that when Bill 41 was introduced at the county level to change the minimum amount of days for the STR, forced registration, and dictate specific areas where they could exist, Judge Watson granted summary judgment to the property owners. To clarify, this means that given the facts of the case, he found there was no argument at all that justified phasing out STRs and prohibiting property owners from exercising their grandfathered right. This included all the units that fall under non-conforming use certificates. There's a significant difference between a short-term rental, owners, operators who are out of state, and those who are here, and there's also a difference between an STR and a B&B. Where a B&B is a local family living in their house, renting out part of it, which is not a vacant owner. It's somebody that's living here and for most part is trying to basically generate enough income to live here. Those in Hawaii that are doing this legally are working class citizens who are finding ways to diversify their income in order to finance their lives. There are less than 800 non-conforming use certificates, including B&Bs, and of this, only 114 are outside of zoned areas. His specific statement in the case said, Judge Watson, although the occupants of monthly rentals may shift more frequently than some neighbors would like, there is no doubt that the tenants are using the homes for residential purposes. And in the current resolution, it says that we believe that these are non-residential purposes, which is contrary to what the ruling said. Those in opposition to the TVUs argue there is driving up housing costs, disrupting the local way of life, which in some cases it is. But there is the other side of the story where people are doing it legally and responsibly. And I don't know how we come to that conclusion right now and not with this resolution. Some of these non-conforming units have been there since back before the 1980s. So how, with such a long history of operation, will we be taking out their vested right to use their own property for what they intended to use it for? The injunction that was filed was in October 13th, 2022, and later ordered a permanent injunction just last year, December 21st. And therefore, I'm not in favor of taking away any private property rights or decreasing income for local Hawaii residents that are legally operating in our county. And if the legislature does pass the legislation, then it is what it is. But I think as far as the specifics stated in the resolution, I cannot agree with it, and therefore I'm in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be voting with reservations. I do understand that the nature of non-conforming uses mean that they aren't meant to exist in perpetuity, right, and over time be phased out. But I just wanted to emphasize that I do not think that those operating with nooks right now are the problem. I think many of the 114 that Councilmember mentioned are meaningfully participating in our community, providing services to the community, and welcomed by even those who were activated and involved in getting rid or limiting short-term vacation rentals in our community. And so I do think that in the long term, I'm not voting no because I do understand the need for the counties to have these powers, but I would hope that the city's goal is to focus on the many, many, many illegal vacation rentals in our property or in our county, and not on those who are legally operating and paying their taxes and providing services that many in our community welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. I'm sorry, Councilmember Tupola, was that a no? Okay, that triggers a roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam by video conference?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Reservations.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba?
No.
Councilmember Tupola?
No.
Councilmember Wire?
Reservations.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 7 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. Resolution 24-27 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 22, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 2437 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, Vice Chair Kia Aina, for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of animal transportation via FedEx valued at $45,000 to the city from the Honolulu Zoological Society for transportation of a male tiger and 2 female plains zebras to the Honolulu Zoo and to send out 2 chimpanzees from the Honolulu Zoo.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Members, we're in discussion. I have a question for our director. Aloha. How are we doing on the vote for USA Today's top 20 zoos in the United States?
Thank you for asking, Chair. Good morning. Good morning, Vice Chair. Thank you, esteemed colleagues. We're super excited. When we last checked, we were at number 4, holding strong out of 20. And then we found out, because this is our first time to ever be nominated, that the USA Today strategically holds back the actual placement of the voting. So that just motivates us more to get the vote out, honoluluzoo.org. So we're super excited. And thank you so much for the press conference. Chair Waters, you did a wonderful job getting people excited that day. Attendance from the council was just so appreciated. And we've had some really wonderful results too. Just organically, membership has risen. And then we had attendance on President's Weekend. That was one of the best attended weekends we've had in years. So organically, we're getting even more just from being nominated.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to fellow council members who've been doing a really good job getting the word out and hoping for the best. Members, any follow-up questions or discussion? Seeing none, thank you very much. Seeing no further discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 24-37 has been adopted. Moving to the bottom of page 22, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 2444 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This accepts a gift of replacement turf valued at $50,000 to the city from Hawaii Kai Baseball League for the batting cage of Cocoa Head District Park.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. I just want to thank the Hawaii Kai community and those involved with the Hawaii Kai Baseball League for doing this. This took a long time to happen. It finally did, but it really is a great asset to have for the Youth Baseball League, not only in Hawaii Kai, but also in all the other communities that come and play in Hawaii Kai. So just want to do a shout out and thank you to them. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 24-44 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 23, Vice Chair Kia.
I move that Resolution 24-47 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of 30 waste bins with artwork valued at $100,000 to the city from JTB Hawaii, Inc. to the Waikiki Business Improvement District Association for use in various locations along Kuhio Beach in Waikiki.
Thank you very much. Do we have a testifier? I believe we have one person. Aloha, thank you so much for waiting patiently all day. I know you're here from 10 o'clock. Could you start with stating your name for the record?
Of course. Good morning. My name is Trevor Abrazua, President, Executive Director of the Waikiki Business Improvement District Association. And thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the council. I'm mainly here to answer any questions, but I do want to say that this has been a community engagement project in getting this done. We worked with Chair Waters' office, worked with the mayor's office, and JTB so kindly and generously donated the donation, and we've been coordinating. A student from the University of Hawaii reached out in terms of trash that was going from the trash bin into the ocean because it was open-end trash bin. So we wanted to find a covered trash bin. We found a state-of-the-art one within the means of JTB's donation and plan to get those in July. So we're really excited about it. Thank you, Chair Waters, for your help on this, and we're really excited. Here to answer any questions. Thanks.
Well, thank you. I just want to point out this might be helpful for other communities. The trash bin that they have and that they created should solve a lot of the problem that we're having where people take out the trash and throw it wherever. We've all seen that in our communities. But if you could just very briefly explain how that trash can works.
Yeah, so they're called Big Belly trash cans. It's a brand that's used in a lot of cities around the country. And essentially, you use your foot or a pedal, and it operates sort of like a mailbox. So you use the foot pedal, and it opens up. You put the trash in, and it closes. And then there's a top on it so that you can't reach inside the trash bin. So like I said, on a windy day in Waikiki, the trash will go all over the place or into the ocean. But like Chair Waters said, if someone is trying to dig through the trash and maybe dump it everywhere, or maybe they're trying to get food out of it, it prevents that. So from a cleanliness perspective, from a crime reduction standpoint, from an environmental standpoint, it's a really state-of-the-art idea, and we're excited to have them in Waikiki.
Thank you very much. Yep. Any follow-up questions, members? Seeing none, thank you so much. Any further testifiers? Seeing none, members are in discussion. Seeing no discussion, any objections or reservations? Seeing no objections or reservations, Resolution 24-47 has been adopted. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 24-48 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of concrete slabs valued at $4,800 to the city from Arm Tower Corporation and Royal Contracting Company for improvements to the Kilauea District Park softball field.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. We're in discussion. Just a quick thank you to RM Towel and Royal Construction Company for their donation. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Any objection or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 24-48 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 24, there being no items for the committee on the whole or executive session, members, are there any announcements? Seeing none, Vice Chair Kiaina for the motion to adjourn.
I move that the meeting stand adjourned until Wednesday, March 27th, 2024 at 10 a.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Seeing none, the council stands adjourned until Wednesday, March 27th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Thank you, members.